There are moments in royal life that slip quietly past tabloid headlines yet mark profound shifts beneath the surface. This is one of those moments. While the world remains fixated on the health battles faced by King Charles III and the Princess of Wales, far from the glittering palace balconies and dramatic processions, a different story is quietly unfolding, one that reveals the extraordinary rise of Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, from soft-spoken supporter to indispensable force at the very heart of the monarchy. It began as a seemingly modest appearance. On a gentle summer morning, Sophie stepped into the storied grounds of Hampton Court, that ancient Tudor palace once echoing with the heavy steps of Henry VIII, not for a grand state banquet or a solemn remembrance, but for something far humbler, a community fashion show held as part of the RHS Hampton Court Garden Festival. It sounded light, almost playful. Yet beneath the graceful archways and among the scent of blooming roses, a subtle narrative of loyalty, responsibility, and shifting royal dynamics was taking shape. Observers might have dismissed it as a pleasant afternoon engagement, the Duchess smiling warmly, offering encouraging nods, exchanging a few words with local designers and volunteers. Cameras even caught her leaning in close to a young participant on the catwalk, laughing in a way that seemed entirely unguarded. But for anyone paying attention to the broader context of royal life right now, it was a scene rich with deeper meaning. Because as King Charles continues to undergo treatment following his cancer diagnosis, and as Catherine focuses on her own careful recovery after that same devastating word entered her life, other members of the family have quietly stepped forward to ensure that the machinery of monarchy, the centuries-old engine that still underpins British national identity, does not grind to a halt. Increasingly, that responsibility is being shouldered by the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. And Sophie in particular has emerged as what palace insiders are calling the King's, and now perhaps William's, secret weapon. Few could have predicted this trajectory. When Sophie Rhys-Jones married into the House of Windsor years ago, she did so without bombast, without theatrical flair. She was dignified, yes, poised, certainly, but never the magnetic star that Diana once was, or that Catherine would become. For a long time, she hovered on the periphery of royal coverage, there, reliable, but largely overlooked. And yet that very quietness, her natural discretion and authentic warmth, has proven to be exactly what the monarchy needs in these tumultuous days. Sources close to palace operations suggest that Prince William, who is increasingly preparing himself to take the reins as the next monarch, sees Edward and Sophie as critical to the family's future. In the painful vacuum left by Harry's departure, once imagined as William's indispensable wingman for the 21st century crown, it is the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh who have stepped up, becoming something like a new bedrock. As one insider put it bluntly, William feels Edward and Sophie are needed. The important work they do is seen. That single phrase carries enormous weight. It implies not only acknowledgement, but a deliberate vision for the future. William knows the monarchy must evolve to survive. And he appears to believe that Edward and Sophie, with their steady hands and total lack of ego-driven drama, are essential to shaping that evolution. In fact, this latest engagement by Sophie was about much more than flowers and frocks. By attending a local community-driven event at a festival of national importance, Sophie quietly demonstrated the monarchy's enduring connection to ordinary people even as its most senior figures fight private health battles. Her presence sent a clear, if understated, signal. The royal family is still here, still engaged, still offering its hand, even during times of internal trial. Behind the scenes, those who know Sophie describe her as eager, almost hungry, to take on more challenging roles. Not out of personal ambition, they say, but out of a profound sense of duty to both the current sovereign and the future king. Her portfolio has already expanded into areas many royals historically kept at arm's length: initiatives for visually impaired citizens, programs supporting disadvantaged youth, campaigns championing mental health awareness. Palace staff whisper that when William formally becomes king, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh will likely become even more pivotal, managing vital yet often thankless community engagement work that keeps the crown rooted among everyday Britons. It's telling, too, that this latest royal appearance came just after reports of William's so-called big plans for Edinburgh surfaced in British tabloids. Though exact details remain tightly guarded, leaks suggest that in his vision for a modern, slimmed-down monarchy, William intends to rely heavily on a small, hyper-dedicated inner circle. And standing solidly in that circle, Edward and Sophie. Unlike the once-anticipated team of William and Harry, which collapsed under the weight of acrimony and explosive memoirs, this new alignment is forged in quiet trust and years of low-key, unglamorous service. The symbolism of Sophie standing amid ordinary citizens at Hampton Court, greeting local artisans and laughing with children, resonates on an almost primal level. Its monarchy stripped of its rigid, gilded barriers, approachable, attentive, and deeply human. Where some royal figures can seem to glide through events with a practiced regal distance, Sophie steps directly into the lives of those she meets. Her arm around a grandmother's shoulder, her genuine delight in the craft of a teenage designer, her willingness to stoop and listen rather than simply wave, these are the subtle, powerful gestures that win not just applause, but genuine affection. Meanwhile, inside palace corridors, there's a very real sense of gratitude toward the Duchess. With Charles balancing his public duties against private treatment schedules, and with Catherine carefully managing each step back into the spotlight, it is Sophie who is helping to ensure the monarchy's beating heart does not falter. Courtiers say the king sees it clearly. One aide revealed that Charles has privately praised Sophie as an unseen guardian, someone who absorbs immense public work without ever seeking a parade of headlines. And what of Catherine, who remains the monarchy's brightest star in public perception? Her courageous honesty about her cancer fight has only deepened the affection felt for her across the UK and beyond. But every event she skips for health reasons, as she rightly must, adds quiet urgency to the need for other senior royals to step forward. This is why Sophie's rising profile matters so deeply. It ensures that while the future queen recuperates, the royal family does not slip into the shadows. Those close to William suggest he has already sketched out what his reign might look like. It will be leaner, sharper, less sprawling than the generations before. There will be no sprawling extended working royal clan. Instead, there will be a select group, and Edward and Sophie are already seen as irreplaceable within it. Their loyalty has been proven over decades. Their capacity for hard, sometimes unglamorous work, from long conferences with charity directors to discreet visits with bereaved families, is beyond question. It is almost poetic that Sophie, once regarded as merely a polite addition to the Windsor tableau, is now viewed by many as a quiet architect of the monarchy's continuity. Through her, the House of Windsor manages to uphold the intricate dance of tradition and adaptation, pearls and tailored coats on the outside, steel and unwavering devotion beneath. As the Duchess of Edinburgh walked the grounds of Hampton Court, exchanging easy smiles with festival-goers, it was tempting to see it as just another soft-focus royal day out. But look closer, and it becomes something more profound, a living demonstration of how the monarchy survives seismic shifts, how it learns to lean on those who do not crack under pressure. In that moment, surrounded by blossoms and volunteers and the gentle murmur of an English summer afternoon, Sophie was quietly helping to secure the crown's future, one handshake, one nod, one warm, genuine laugh at a time. It is a story unlikely to explode across sensational front pages. But it may, in the end, prove far more consequential than any palace scandal. For when history looks back on this fragile transitional period for the royal family, it may note that while the world waited breathlessly for Charles to reappear on palace balconies, or for Catherine to step smiling into the sunlight once more, it was Sophie's discreet, steadfast, and unfailingly gracious who quietly kept the monarchy's pulse steady.